Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be diving in.
Today we're tackling a big one, George Orwell's Animal Farm. A story, most people feel they know inside out.
Right. It's often treated as a simple fable, almost. But there's so much more beneath the surface.
Exactly. And we're going straight to the source. We've got these excerpts from the 1996 edition, specifically the prefaces, which are fascinating, and then chapters I through X.
Those prefaces are absolutely key. They frame the whole thing.
Our mission, really, is to unpack why Orwell wrote it, the political climate he was up against just getting it published.
Which was a real fight.
And trace that whole arc of the animal's revolution, from hope to, well, the end state. And think about what it tells you, the listener, about, power, information, how narratives get controlled.
It's less history lesson, more a look at the playbook, isn't it?
Yeah.
How power works.
Totally. So let's start with those prefaces. Orwell struggled to even get this published. What was the timeline? When did the idea spark? When was he writing?
Well, the idea itself goes back quite a way to 1937, he says. But the actual writing happened pretty quickly, end of 43, early 44.
Right in the middle of the war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Paper shortages, everything tight. But his problem was bigger than that. He got turned down by 4 publishers.
4? Wow. During a book shortage. That sounds like something else is going on.
It strongly suggests it. He mentions one publisher did accept it initially,
Okay.
but then they consulted the Ministry of Information, and suddenly they backed out.
Ah, the government. What was the official reason?
Well, the feedback, apparently from someone important, was twofold. One, the fable was seen as too obviously about the USSR.
Our ally at the time.
Right. They felt it should be, more general about all dictatorships. And 2, and this is almost darkly funny, they thought making the ruling class pigs would offend the Russians.
Seriously. Offend them by calling dictators pigs. That seems willfully missing the point.
Orwell was pretty skeptical himself about those being the real reasons, but the whole incident fed directly into his argument in the Freedom of the Press preface.
Right. The one that wasn't published with the book initially.
That's the one. His core argument there is that the biggest threat to free thought in wartime England wasn't actually official censorship, which he thought was relatively mild.
Okay. So what was it then?
It was voluntary censorship, self-censorship.
People holding back themselves. Why?
Out of fear, basically. Fear of public opinion, fear of going against the grain, what he called intellectual cowardice. There was this prevailing orthodoxy, a dominant way of thinking.
And certain things just become unmentionable.
Pretty much. Next door to unprintable, as he put it. Not illegal, just not done. Because they clash with the popular view.
And the orthodoxy he was fighting against specifically.
Was this really uncritical admiration of Soviet Russia? Almost a reverence?
So saying anything negative about Stalin or the USSR?
Was incredibly difficult to get published. Especially, he noted, in the left-wing press, which he felt should have been defending free speech. Facts the Soviets wanted hidden were just ignored.
He gives examples in the preface, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, quite a few. Like how the British press treated leaders in Yugoslavia praising Tito, the communist leader, while suppressing information about Mihailovich, the nationalist, or the BBC celebrating a Red Army anniversary, but conveniently forgetting to mention Trotsky, who was, only a central figure in the revolution.
Right.
He talks about the English left-wing press smearing certain Republican groups in the Spanish Civil War who weren't Stalinist and refusing to print their side.
And that Trotsky biography case.
Yeah, really striking. A U.S. publisher withdraws a critical biography of Stalin by Trotsky because the USSR joined the Allies. And the British press. Complete silence about this act of suppression.
So it's a pattern of deliberate avoidance and active suppression.
Exactly. And Orwell distinguishes this. He says, look, you expect bias from groups with clear agendas like, patent medicine companies or the Catholic Church. You know where they stand.
Sure.
What bothered him was this spontaneous conformity among supposedly liberal, independent writers. This gramophone mind.
The gramophone mind. Explain that.
It's just repeating the popular tune without thinking, switching one orthodoxy for another, whatever's playing now. No critical thought.
Just playing the record.
Yeah. And for Orwell, that's the enemy. Real liberty, he argues, quoting people like Rosa Luxemburg and Voltaire, is about defending the right of the other person to speak, especially when you disagree.
Freedom for the other fellow.
Right. Or Voltaire's line, I detest what you say. I will defend to the death your right to say it. Liberty means letting people hear things they don't want to hear.
And this links to his warning about the renegade liberal.
Yes, exactly. This dangerous idea he saw creeping in, that to defend democracy, you might need to use totalitarian tactics.
Fight fire with fire.
Sort of. Crush dissent, control information, justify purges, all in the name of protecting freedom. He saw this justifying lies about Spain, excusing the Moscow trials. His warning is clear. If you embrace those methods, they will eventually be used against you.
His time in Spain seems absolutely crucial here. The Ukrainian preface touches on his background.
It really shaped him. Born in India, eaten on scholarship, so he saw both sides of the class system.
Yeah.
Police service in Burma gave him a hatred of imperialism. Then living poor, studying minors. He became socialist out of sheer disgust at oppression, not some abstract theory. And then Spain.
Fighting with the POUM militia.
Yes, a Marxist group, but anti-Stalinist. And when the Soviet-backed communists started purging other leftists within the Republican side.
Like the POUM.
Exactly. Orwell and his wife were right there. He saw how easily totalitarian propaganda worked, how lies about conspiracy and sabotage straight from Moscow were just swallowed whole, even by the free press back home. He called it a valuable object lesson.
So his critique of the Soviet system wasn't academic. It was visceral, personal.
Absolutely. He came away convinced the USSR wasn't socialist at all, but a new kind of hierarchy, and that the myth of it being socialist was actually damaging real socialism in the West.
So Animal Farm became his way to attack that myth.
Destroy the Soviet myth, he said, to revive the socialist movement. The initial spark for the story itself came from seeing a boy whipping a cart horse. It made him think about exploitation from the animal's perspective.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And the plot structure follows the Russian Revolution, though he played with the timeline, even weaving in things like the Tehran Conference, which shaped that discordant ending he wanted, reflecting the fragile USSR-West alliance.
Knowing all that context, the censorship battles, the Spanish experience, it makes the story itself hit differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even the hopeful start in chapters 1 to 4.
Definitely. It starts on Manor Farm, neglected by Mr. Jones. Life is hard for the animals.
Which sets the stage perfectly for Old Major.
The prize boar, yeah.
Mm.
He calls that meeting, like you said, almost a political rally.
Mm-hmm.
And he lays it out. Man is the enemy, the parasite. He paints this picture of a future without humans, where animals are free and prosperous.
And crucially, he gives them the song Beasts of England.
The anthem of the revolution. It's incredibly powerful. And we meet the main characters here. The clever pigs, Snowball, Napoleon, Squealer, the loyal horses, Boxer and Clover, Benjamin, the cynical donkey, Molly, the vain one, and Moses talking about Sugar Candy Mountain.
That song really catches fire. Old Major dies, but the idea is planted. Chapter 2.
The pigs, naturally being the smartest, take his ideas and shape them into animalism. They hold secret meetings, there's some pushback, loyalty to Jones, worries about the afterlife.
Molly worrying about sugar and ribbons.
A classic Molly. But Boxer and Clover are totally committed. They become key disciples.
And the rebellion itself.
Yeah.
It feels almost accidental when it happens.
It's sparked by Jones getting drunk, forgetting to feed them. They break into the food store, Jones tries to whip them, and they just snap. They fight back and drive the humans off the farm. Pure liberation.
An amazing moment for them. They immediately start purging the symbols of human control.
Right. Whips, chains, nose rings, all gone. They rename the farm Animal Farm, a total reset.
And the pigs write the 7 commandments.
Yeah, boiling animalism down to these core rules written on the barn wall. Supposedly unchangeable laws for their new society. Equality, freedom.
Chapter 3 paints this picture of early success, right? The first harvest.
It's tough using human tools, but it works because they're working for themselves. Motivation is high. Boxer is incredible. I will work harder becomes his motto. Real collective spirit.
They set up routines, the Sunday flag ceremony.
Green flag, hoof and horn, symbolizing their republic. Then the meeting for planning and debate. But the cracks appear almost immediately.
How so?
Well, it's the pigs proposing everything. And Snowball and Napoleon are already disagreeing constantly.
And then the milk and apples, the first concrete sign of inequality.
Big time. Everyone assumes they'll be shared, but nope, the pigs take them. And out comes Squealer.
The spin doctor arrives.
His first big job. Justification. Pigs are brain workers, crucial for management. They need this food. Otherwise, Jones might come back.
Ah, the fear tactic again.
And it works. The animals buy it. It's the first step towards special privilege. And we also get the sheep adopting 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Complex ideas reduced to a slogan. Easy to chant, easy to manipulate.
So the ideals are already being chipped away, even in victory. Meanwhile, Chapter 4 The news spreads.
Pigeons carry the message, and beasts of England to neighboring farms, Pilkington's Foxwood, Frederick's Pinchfield. The farmers are initially dismissive, then scared. They start spreading counter-propaganda.
Lies about Animal Farm.
Yeah, cannibalism, starvation, torture, anything to discredit the rebellion.
But the animals prove them wrong in the Battle of the Cowshed.
Jones and the farmers try to take back the farm, but Snowball, who studied Caesar's campaigns,
Oh, really?
yeah, he orchestrates this brilliant defense. They drive the humans off again. Another victory.
But it shows different personalities, too.
Exactly. Boxer's upset thinking he killed a boy. Snowball's just, war is war. Molly hides. They celebrate, give out medals. Animal hero first class to Snowball and Boxer. Peak unity, really. But it's fragile.
Very fragile. Which becomes painfully clear as we hit chapters 5 to 8, the real shift, leading up to Boxer's fate in chapter 9. First, Molly defects.
Yeah, she was never really on board. Hates the work, misses the attention, the sugar, the ribbons. Clover sees her talking to a human from Foxwood. Eventually, she just vanishes. Seen later pulling a cart, looking happy enough with her ribbons. A quiet exit.
But the main conflict, Snowball versus Napoleon, just explodes.
Over the windmill. Snowball's big vision. Electricity, less work, 3-day week. Napoleon hates the idea, literally urinates on the plans. Right. The farm splits into factions. Vote for Snowball versus vote for Napoleon. Defense is another issue. Snowball wants to export the revolution. Napoleon wants guns. Benjamin the donkey. Still cynical about everything.
And then the turning point, Snowball's expulsion.
The meeting to vote on the windmill. Snowball's speech is winning them over. Napoleon makes this weird sound. And suddenly, these 9 huge, terrifying dogs he'd secretly raised burst in.
The puppies.
Not puppies anymore. They attack Snowball, chase him right off the farm. Brutal, violent. The animals are just shocked, terrified.
And that's it. Power consolidated through force.
Instantly. The dogs become Napoleon's bodyguards, like Jones's dogs before. He immediately cancels the Sunday meetings. No more debates. Decisions made by a pig committee, led by him.
Claiming it's a sacrifice on his part.
Of course. And anyone who protests, the dogs growl them down. Squealer's job now is crucial.
To rewrite history.
Exactly. He convinces them Snowball was a criminal all along. Boxer struggles, remembers Snowball's bravery at the cowshed, but Squealer confuses him. Boxer adopts his second maxim, Napoleon is always right.
So tragic.
It is. And then the final twist. Napoleon announces the windmill will be built.
After opposing it so strongly, how does Squealer explain that?
Pure gaslighting. Napoleon was never really opposed, see? Snowball stole his plans. Opposing it was just tactics to get rid of Snowball, the dangerous influence.
And the animals.
Yeah.
They accept this.
They're confused. Their memory tells them otherwise. But Squealer is persuasive. The dogs are scary. They accept it. They don't understand tactics, but they trust Napoleon now, or fear him.
And the erosion of principles accelerates. Trading with humans, chapter 6.
Napoleon decides they need materials, so they'll use a human solicitor, Mr. Whymper. The animals remember a resolution against trade, against money. Squealer steps in. No such resolution ever existed. Or perhaps you dreamed it. It was probably lies spread by Snowball. No written proof, so their memory's faulty. Again.
Controlling the past to control the present. Then the pigs move into the farmhouse.
Yep, sleeping in beds. Direct violation of Commandment 4, or is it?
Ah, the amendment trick.
Exactly. Squealer claims brain workers need comfort. When questioned, they check the barn wall. Commandment 4 now reads, no animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets.
Unbelievable.
The animals see the words, assume they misremembered. The physical alteration of the law is terrifyingly effective.
While all this is going on, they're slaving away on the windmill.
Back-breaking work. Then a storm hits, destroys the windmill.
And Napoleon's reaction.
Instant blame. Snowball. Sabotage. Frame the external enemy. Declare they'll rebuild immediately, through the winter. Keep them busy. Keep them unified against the threat.
Chapter 7 gets even darker. The hardship, the hunger.
It's a brutal winter. Food runs out. Napoleon has to hide the shortages from Whymper, filling grain bins with sand. Gotta keep up appearances for the outside world.
Which leads to the hens' rebellion.
Napoleon needs grain, so he contracts to sell their eggs. The hens protest its murder. They smash their eggs. Napoleon's response, starve them out, stop their rations. Anyone helping them faces death.
And hens die.
9 hens starve to death. The rest give in. It's the first time Napoleon uses death as a direct weapon against his own animals. A huge threshold crossed.
And the Snowball narrative gets ramped up even more.
Oh, totally. Everything bad is Snowball's fault now. Broken window, Snowball, Stolen key, Snowball. Napoleon claims he can smell him. Squealer announces Snowball was Jones's agent from the very beginning.
Rewriting the Battle of the Cowshed again.
Completely. Snowball the traitor, Napoleon the hero. Boxer questions this. I saw Snowball fight bravely, but Squealer confuses him with secret documents and psychological pressure. Boxer finally caves. If Comrade Napoleon says it, it must be right. Squealer then warns them. Snowball has agents among you, spreading paranoia.
Setting the stage for the executions.
The absolute terror moment. Napoleon calls an assembly, dogs everywhere. The dogs drag out 4 young pigs who had questioned Napoleon earlier. They confess under obvious terror to plotting with Snowball.
And they're killed on the spot.
Torn apart by the dogs. Then other animals come forward, hens, a goose, sheep confessing to minor things, maybe hoping for mercy. They're killed too. A pile of bodies, the smell of blood.
Just like in Jones's time.
Worse, maybe, because it's animals killing animals. Clover looks out, devastated. This isn't the future they dreamed of. They start singing Beasts of England mournfully.
And Squealer bans it.
Instantly. The rebellion is over, he says. The song is obsolete, even counter-revolutionary, replaced by a rubbish new song by Minimus the Poet Pig.
And the 6th commandment, no animal shall kill any other animal.
They check the wall again. Muriel reads it. Benjamin still refuses. It now says, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. Another convenient amendment, justifying the slaughter.
Napoleon becomes even more remote in Chapter 8, doesn't he?
Like a dictator. Rarely seen, always guarded, ceremonies, gun fired on his birthday, living apart, eating off fine china. Meanwhile, Squealer reads out endless figures showing massive production increases.
While they're actually suffering shortages.
Exactly. He calls reductions readjustments, pure propaganda.
And the dealings with Frederick and Pilkington get really cynical.
Napoleon plays them off each other over that timber pile, whips up hatred for Frederick, he tortures animals, then suddenly sells the timber to Frederick, cuts ties with Pilkington, changes the slogans, claims the Frederick atrocity stories were lies spread by Snowball.
Well, Frederick double-crosses him.
Pays with forged banknotes. Napoleon is furious. Death to Frederick. An attack is inevitable. They try to mend fences with Pilkington, but it's too late.
The Battle of the Windmill.
Frederick attacks with guns. It's bloody. Animals wounded, killed. They're driven back. Then Frederick's men plant dynamite.
And blow up the windmill.
Destroy it completely. The animals are enraged by this violation. They counterattack furiously, drive the men off. But the cost is huge. The windmill is gone. Many are injured.
Squealer calls it a victory.
Of course. Comes skipping out, guns firing, celebrating. Boxer, bleeding, wounded, asks, what victory? They only won back the ground they already had, minus the windmill. But Squealer convinces them, regaining the sacred soil is the victory. 2 days of celebration, Napoleon gives himself another medal. The fake money issue, quietly forgotten.
And Boxer, poor Boxer, injured in that battle, keeps working in Chapter 9.
I will work harder. Trying to rebuild the windmill before he retires. He collapses. Lung problem.
His dream was just retirement, wasn't it? Learning the alphabet.
Yeah. So simple. Squealer announces Napoleon is making special arrangements, sending Boxer to the veterinary hospital in Willingdon, top care.
But Benjamin finally speaks up.
The cynical old donkey sees the van arrive, and for once he breaks his silence. He reads the side of the van aloud.
What does it say?
Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler, Willingdon. The knacker's van.
Oh, no.
The animals panic, scream at Boxer. He tries to kick his way out. You hear him inside, but he's too weak. They drive him away, sold, betrayed.
And Squealer smooths it over.
With the most disgusting lie. Claims Boxer died peacefully in the hospital, Squealer at his side. Makes up heroic last words praising Napoleon. Describes the expensive medicines Napoleon supposedly paid for.
And the animals believe him.
They're relieved. They want to believe it. The truth is too horrible. And then a few days later, the pigs get a delivery. A crate of whiskey. Paid for with the money from Boxer. They have a party.
That's just horrific. The ultimate betrayal. Which brings us to Chapter X. The end state. Years have passed.
Most who remember the rebellion are dead. Clover, Benjamin, Moses the Raven, and the pigs are left. The new animals only know the rebellion as legend.
The farm is richer, bigger, more machinery.
Yeah, the farm itself is doing well. The windmill mills corn, makes money. Not electricity for stalls. That dream is dead, dismissed as contrary to the spirit of animalism. Hard work is happiness now.
But the animals don't see the wealth.
Nope. Only the pigs and dogs live well. The pigs are numerous now, busy with endless files, reports, minutes, bureaucracy. They consume, they don't produce.
Yet the animals still have some pride left.
They do. Pride that it's their farm, run by animals. They still vaguely believe in old Major's Republic, even if life is hard. They tell themselves it's better than Jones, they are free. They cling to, all animals are equal.
Until the pigs start walking on two legs.
The final shock. The ultimate betrayal of animalism's core principle. And the sheep have a new slogan ready.
4 legs good, 2 legs better.
Bleating it mindlessly. Trained by Squealer.
And the commandments wall.
Clover gets Benjamin to read it one last time. All 7 commandments are gone, replaced by one single sentence.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
The final, cynical truth of Napoleon's regime, written plain.
And from that point, the pigs become fully human in their behavior.
Whips, clothes, pipes, magazines, telephone, radio, Napoleon in Jones's coat, it's complete.
Leading to the final scene, reconciling with the humans.
Pilkington and other farmers visit. They tour the farm, and they're impressed. Not scared anymore. They admire the low rations, the long working hours, the discipline. They plan to adopt Animal Farm's methods.
They see it as a model of efficiency, not rebellion.
Exactly. During the dinner party in the farmhouse, Napoleon announces more changes. No more comrade. No more marching past old Major's skull, it's been buried. The flag is now just plain green. And the name.
Back to Manor Farm.
The revolution officially erased.
Leaving that final, chilling image.
The animals looking through the window, pigs and humans playing cards, drinking, laughing together. Then an argument breaks out over cheating at cards, showing their fundamental nature hasn't changed. They'll betray each other too. And the animals looking from pig to man to pig.
And they can't tell the difference.
Which was which? The transformation is total. The oppressors have become indistinguishable.
Wow. What a powerful arc, laid out so clearly when you go back to Orwell's words and the narrative itself. His own fight against censorship, against that gramophone mind, it's all mirrored in the story, isn't it?
Absolutely. The way truth is twisted, history rewritten, fear used. It's the pig's method inside the farm, and it was the method Orwell saw being used outside, trying to silence his book.
From old Major's dream and those 7 commandments, real hope for equality, down to that single awful line. Some animals are more equal than others.
It's the complete inversion of the ideal, step by calculated step.
And this deep dive really shows how it's a timeless warning. They fought humans, only to end up ruled by pigs who became, well, just like humans, maybe worse. A reminder that power, wherever it comes from, needs constant scrutiny.
And think about this. Orwell's struggle wasn't just about the story, it was about the right to tell the story. What does that say to you, listening now, about protecting the space for dissent, for uncomfortable truths? It's not just about spotting the lies, but ensuring the truth can actually be heard. That vigilance feels more relevant than ever.